What's going on, everybody? David Mitchell here, voice of Autism, episode 88. Had a new update, and the option is setting from a change to go turn off all notification. They took that out of new update, so I'm a little aggravated. Literally, like, I do that before I do the live stream, or it won't get interrupted, but now that had happened, it's gonna be a little bit hard to figure out. But yeah, I will have to figure out what app to, in a way. But yeah. Also, we got 3 days until me and my lovely fiance Velvaria 1 year anniversary of us being engaged. And yes, the link to my fiance YouTube channel down below for you guys who would like to watch some of her video or subscribe to her. So if you guys want to, you can go down there and look at her video too. So yeah, or her YouTube channel, I meant to say, my bad. But yeah, I'm still getting used to the new update. So that's something I'm still getting used to. Oh, and to bring it up on me and my fiance 1 year anniversary, it'll be already that on the 22nd in the Philippines, a couple hours ahead. So yeah, so I'm thinking about either doing a video, 1 year anniversary video, or a live stream with me and her on it, like the video chatting. Or I'm going to try to do a live recording, like a recording of me and her talking. But I'm still figuring it out. So you got to wait to see. It'll be between 22nd and the 23rd. Hope I'll be during the night time, or probably the early morning hour of 23rd. So yeah, that's something I'm still trying to figure out. I might need a haircut really soon. But yeah. Also, with the heat wave getting worse, I'm going to have to slow down on the rail fanning for you like on the rail fanning video. So if I don't want to end up in the hospital from a heat stroke or all of that, I'm going to have to slow it down on the rail fanning. So yeah, that's something I'm going to be watching out now for. But yeah, but I do have some stuff that I'm thinking about doing for me and my fiance 1 year anniversary. But yeah, and it's only in 3 days. It's actually 2 days because it's already the 21st there, so it's 2 days there. So yeah. Now I've been thinking about it. I might try to get a job or do a program that might pay me some to get a little extra money before my big move to California. I'm actually thinking about that. I have enough money right now, but I'm thinking about getting a little bit more to make it easier and make sure stuff don't go wrong. So I gotta plan it right to make sure nothing go bad. So yeah. Isn't it crazy? It's a crazy scene. But yeah. It's been one crazy year and all that. But it's ironic. Now I am thinking about that new network program scene. I'm still thinking about it. If you I don't know, on the 29th, is that week. Or let me check on the calendar. Well, actually not that week after. It'll be January 29th on a Monday. Not this Monday, next Monday. So I have a meeting on that day. I'm going to look up some stuff for then. Because I want to find something that I love to do. I don't want to be stuck in a job that I just doing just to earn money. Would you? Okay, I'm just going to bring it up. For people who are out there, would you love to do a job that you don't like and you're just doing it to earn money? Or would you do a job that you would love to do and get money for it? For people who actually go with the second one, it actually gets in. People who do the first one have some problems. Like, really? Would you want to be paid for something that make you miserable? Or something that you enjoy doing and like making money for? Even somebody who I was supposed to go to college back in 2017, but I got screwed head over heels. So technically, yeah, I kind of got screwed that year. And it would be because the whole school district screwed me head over heels. So, yeah. If I ever have kids, I'm never going to send them to schools here in the South. And that's a fact. I just find schools down here, they don't accept people on autism spectrum. The only school that I've been to that had teachers who wanted to help and accept us was my old middle school. My high school, 50-50, but I got screwed by the time I graduated. All I had was occupational potential, and in 2018 to change rules where people who are in special need or resource are able to get a GED. So technically, I got screwed head over heels. So yeah, not fun. So they technically screwed me head over heels just because I'm on an autism spectrum. And it's either my old high school, not my old high school, but my old middle school principal found out what they did. Oh, you would have been pissed to hell. Because you don't like stuff like that. And I can remember because he always seen potential in me. My old high school teacher, or not teacher, but principal, when other people didn't. It was kind of soccer. You don't see that with people in school districts at all. And he was one of the people who helped me get my re-diagnosed with Asperger's. So, yeah. People wanted a reason why. And it's crazy. But, yeah. But what I'm saying, yeah, I'm still getting you to the new update. And with now that they took the ability to turn on notification off at the exact same time, I'm going to have to go through manually and turn all of them off before I start a live stream. So that's going to be a pain in the butt. And I mean, literally. I'm a little aggravated, but, you know. Crap like that do happen. But it is aggravating in a way if you did think about it. But yeah. What hope? And I mean, what hope that nothing else screwed up happens. But yeah. Now, I'm still trying to figure out, because I tried doing a live stream with my fiance back in 2018 on my birthday that year. People who tried watching the live stream remember that sound was not able to work at all when that was on my birthday. And the ironic thing is, oh, 1 minute guys. We got a month and 5 days until my 21st birthday. So yeah, so I'll be 21 in a month and 5 days, which is 36 days from now. So yeah, I'll be the big 21 or 21. But yeah, it's crazy. Now let's get on to what I'm thinking about today. Except once you work right. But yeah. And sorry about that little rant at the beginning of the video with stuff. Just that, you know. Stuff kind of been going, you know, wacky everywhere, if you guys know what I mean. Like, literally. And that's the reason why. If you guys don't know. Well, let me check something. Because I didn't notice what I was saying on the tab. Like, I turned the notification to YouTube off. Like, already in case something happened. So, I kind of turned them off on my phone. Like, all notifications that do come up when I'm live streaming, I turned them off already. To make sure. But that's one of the reasons why. But yeah. I need to find some better. Yeah, I'll admit it. I still need to find a better live streaming equipment. But yeah, or buy a laptop or a webcam. Okay, let's see what it is. Because it might be good to talk about.
If you need help in understanding autism, don't try religion.
I'm part Christian, but some people literally try to, you know, screw around by using religion with not entertain. Like, me and my fiance, we're on the autism spectrum, but we are Christian, but there's sometimes that some people just screw around trying to take advantage. They kind of get aggravated, I'll admit that. Let's see what it is. But yeah.
Indian Catholic priest who claims parents sense cause autism in children, cancels Australia tour by Ben Nightwood at 3:08 p.m. Email, Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp. Photo. Father Dominic Balanganal claims to have cured autism. Facebook. Father Dominic Balanganal, an Indian Catholic priest who claims to have cured autism through prayer and compared autistic children to animals, has cancelled a planned series of religious retreats in Australia.
Good. You don't need to be going there, guys. Fucker. I'm sorry for my mouth right there, but that right there get me ticked off and pissed off. That there are people like that still going around. Autism, okay, here's the thing. Autism, not a disease. It's neurological. It's in the brain. And people who have autism trying to add mental disorder need to quit and take it off of that too. Because those two things harms our community very badly.
Key points. Father Dominic Balanganal was due to hold a sold-out retreat on Phillip Island and another in Canberra. The Indian Catholic community in Australia hails largely from the Indian state of Kerala, where Father Balanganal is based. A campaign to stop his visit was backed by autism support groups. Father Dominic Vaughan was recently forced to cancel similar events in Ireland and Canada after a video clip appeared online showing him preaching that autism in children was caused by the vice of their parents. Adultery, masturbation, homosexuality, porn. If you are addicted to these, I say to you in the name of God, when you get married and have children, there is a high possibility of bearing these type of children, he said in the video. They lead an animal-like life. They copulate like animals. They bear children like animals. Therefore those children also will be like animals. Father Vaughan, who claims to have cured 2 children in Ireland of autism, had sold out a 5-day retreat on Phillip Island in September, in which he charged around $400 per person to attend. He also had another event scheduled in Canberra, but yesterday the tour was cancelled. Photo.
People like him did make me sick. There are reasons why people like on the spectrum have problems. Like people like that, anti-factor, and a ton of other type of people. But that's one of the reasons why. Oh, sorry about that. I did comb my hair earlier, and it doing that. Dewey.
Photo by Noy Zacharias has an autistic son and led the campaign to stop Father Vaughan's Australia tour. ABC News. Danielle Bonica, a member of Melbourne's Indian Catholic community and the father of an autistic teenager, Binoy Zacharias said he should never have been invited in the first place. Mr. Zacharias led the campaign against the priest's visit. A lot of people urge me to take my son along to his retreats so that he can be treated, he said. It makes me very sad when he says he has removed autism as...
It make me feel very sick that there are people like that. Not sad.
When he says he has removed autism as an evil spirit from families, people take it seriously. Australia's Indian Catholic community hails largely from the South Indian state of Kerala, where Father Vaughan is based, and has historically included a large number of health professionals. That's what makes the acceptance of his views on autism so upsetting, said Linton Thomas, who is a member of the community in Bendigo and also a social worker. It's so sad that they are educated people who are taken in by this. And they are the people who will be taking their children along to these retreats hoping for a miracle cure. Photo. Linton Thomas said people who paid for the retreats were hoping for a miracle cure. ABC Central Victoria. Beth Gibson. Last month, the Bishop of Calgary cancelled Father Vaughan's permission to lead a retreat in Canada after community members raised concerns before apologizing and promising a review of the diocese's internal processes. The campaign against the priest's visit to Australia drew support from the Rationalist Society and the autism advocacy organisation Amaze, both of which wrote to the Archbishop of Melbourne, Peter Cummins-Solly, to raise concerns. Amaze chief executive Fiona Sharkey told the ABC she was pleased the visit has been cancelled, calling the priest's views stigmatizing, highly offensive and entirely inaccurate. Our principal concern is the toll on autistic people, their families and carers his claims will create if he is provided a public platform, Ms. Sharkey said. The leader of the Australian Syro-Malabar Church, a branch of the Catholic Church, Bishop Bosco Puther, told the ABC Father Vaughan's views were not the position of the Catholic Church. That is my position, also Bishop Puther said.
Stuff like that did make me sick, I'll be honest. There is a problem with people like that. They're more harmful to us than any other type. Like, it's seen all the time that people on the spectrum have been put in danger. You know where it comes from. And that's something that we need to work on. If you guys don't know. But it's something I just found messed up. Now here's something else.
Earlier this evening someone asked me why people get PTSD from ABBA. I've been working on a more succinct answer for a long time and think this may be the best explanation that I can give. First, know that ABBA does what it is intended to do. You have to know this going into a discussion with someone who does ABBA on an autistic child. It doesn't teach anything, but for what it is trying to do, it is effective. And that's why it's dangerous. But why do people get PTSD? In the simplest terms, ABBA tells an autistic person that your reactions to things your body experiences is wrong. Not only that, but you are not allowed to do them. And not only that, but that your reactions shouldn't exist because what you experience isn't actually happening since a neurotypical person doesn't experience them. And how do they teach these things? By taking the things you like and enjoy the most and hold them hostage. They are held hostage until you do what the therapist commands. And if you won't comply or can't comply since they don't distinguish between the two, then you will be forced to comply without your permission. It's effective for the same reason it causes PTSD, because it gaslights you, forces you to stop listening to your body, tells you that what others want is more important than what you want, and that someone will forcibly control your body to make them happen.
Exactly why ABA therapy is bad. Exact reason why.
Believe it or not, accusers are verbal. Verbal does not mean oral. Writing is verbal like oral.
That right there is true. Now let's see the article about it. But yeah. I'm still working on that other article. But I probably have an odd film will probably take a couple hours. Or probably about 30 minutes to an hour to do. But I'm probably going to want to do an episode when I figure out the time that it will take for it. But it'll be a while before I do that one that I tried doing a couple weeks ago when we had the issue with the internet itself. But we kind of still do, if you guys don't know. But yeah, 7 I'm still working on.
Why ACT is a human right for non-speaking autistics and disabled people for Minread, by Olympia Enes explains what it's like to have apraxia of speech, why many autistic folk are non-speaking, and why ACT devices are a human rights issue. The minute I wake up, my mind is active. I do not think in words. I am about as pure a visual thinker as you can get. I can visualize my life like a film, and pause at certain points, zoom in, zoom out, and rotate my viewpoint. I don't think to myself, I'm going to make some coffee, when I want coffee. I see the coffee in my mind, that dark brown steaming liquid in my favorite cup with the words I am sarcastic periodically with sarcastic written in elemental form as sarcastic. I can mentally go through all the types of spoon I have in the cutlery drawer, and I can mentally go through all the types of spoon I have in the cutlery drawer, and I can visualize the whole process in multiple formats, video recording, diagrammatic, flowchart, the list goes on. This sounds fantastic, doesn't it? Having a near photographic memory and being able to visualize things in such detail, in multiple formats. Well, there is one problem, and that's when I need to translate these thoughts into a spoken description. The Broca's area of the brain, the area that is responsible for speech production, also acts like Google Translate to convert images/videos to spoken word. However, my version of Google Translate is not well developed, the coding is not perfect. There are days where I cannot effectively translate at a reasonable speed, or days where I cannot translate at all. What is the result of this inefficient translation process? On some days, my spoken words are quite a few grades lower in articulation than the detailed flowcharts, logic diagrams, circuits, and videos that fill my mind. Like and think, yeah, sort of like, and other relatively poor uses of English will frequently feature in my sentences. My word choice and pronunciation is also affected, often significantly, but there are harder days. On some days, my brain will dump spoken communication to /dev/null and return 0 on the coding loop. I am rendered speechless, but that does not mean I do not have thoughts. Never assume I don't have thoughts just because I am not speaking. It is just that my in-development Google Translate is not functioning. My head is filled with images, but my Broca's area in my brain has decided to go on strike for a while because it has a hard enough time doing the 7 a.m. to midnight job as it is. So what I do on those days when my Broca's area is on strike, I could give it a pay rise. What would that involve? Over-medicating myself with caffeine, and using stimulant medications that really are not good for me in the long run as they are a temporary solution to a long-term problem. And anyhow, I really should not be doing this whilst I have a heart condition and an endocrine problem. So a pay raise is not really an option in the long run. The only sensible solution is to give my Broca's area a holiday. I don't speak. Oh no, you think. What would I do without speech? Simple. I have the ability to type on my phone. I have an app that I can type on with large print letters, and if I press a button, it will dictate what I have typed. I even have the amusing choice of 4 different English accents. Others use tablets or devices specifically designed for augmentative and alternative communication. Now, this is not unusual amongst autistics. I know many autistics who don't speak at all or who speak part-time. Their reasons may not be exactly the same as mine, but I have heard that my issues are actually relevant to autism. Autistics have a higher incidence of having a condition called apraxia. Apraxia is, putting it in basic and brief terms, when your brain and body don't communicate well. For me, it means that I walk right into doors and walls. I cannot throw or kick with any real accuracy. I can desire to pick something up, but throw it at someone instead and wonder why on earth I did that. I remember the terrifying, but morbidly amusing incident where I wanted to chop a spring onion, but ended up throwing the knife into the wall and it actually jammed itself into the wall. So, don't put pressure on us autistics if we can't speak. We aren't being willful or rude. We genuinely have a neurological programming syntax error that we cannot work around. We may type on devices and have the device speak for us. Some of us may use sign language. I have actually tried to learn British Sign Language, but my apraxia is a huge barrier to this. Some of us with more severe apraxia than what I describe in the paragraph above may point at letters on a large board. It's not weird. It's not something to mutter. Why can't you just speak about? We aren't being obnoxious. We aren't crazy. There are multiple ways of communicating.
Yeah.
Speaking is not the only way.
Exactly. That's right there, true. And that's something I would have to say to write about. Their rights, for the autistic who can't speak, their rights get invaded even worse than ours. And I heard with far worse story of them going through ABA therapy and it being hell for them because they couldn't speak. Literally. So it was a miracle that I made it through. But stuff like this really screw over the autism community. And it's harm for us.
You have seen this group on my previous post and reported. The group has gone underground, we think, but the admin has not yet. Please share and report. I have reported both.
Oh, that right. They're talking about that one person who is a bad person who is trying to poison us. So yeah.
In most circles, it's considered respectful to use person first language. Person with diabetes instead of diabetic person. However, the majority of autistic people prefer autistic people over people with autism. Here's why. Feaspergen actually autistic autism person first language identity first language yo zombism. Note, if you subscribe to Sam's YouTube, check to make sure it's stuck. We flooded her account with so many subscribers, YouTube thought it was spam and unsubscribed a bunch of people. We still need to get her to 1,000 subs.
Yeah, a fellow YouTuber that I follow on, YouTube, but yeah. And saying it, I show you autism and stuff. I just show YouTube, but are you autistic sometimes too?
David.
Yes.
You live streaming?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey.
We was gonna go get something to eat. We was gonna see if you wanted to come with us.
Where are you guys going to eat it?
Up there at the new little restaurant thingy by the grocery store
What name of it?
called Genesis.
What time to close?
I don't know. We're leaving now. You want us to just bring you back something?
Yeah, I did not even know you guys were going out.
Well, we weren't really. You want a cheeseburger or hamburger or something like that, or?
Yeah, hamburger.
Okay. All right.
But, yeah. Sorry about that, guy, my mom. I had no idea that they tried to do that tonight, but yeah. Now let's get back to this. But yeah, there we go.
Versus identity first language. This debate normally takes place between autism parents, that is, non-autistic parents of autistic children and autistic adults. Today I want to explain to you why I vastly prefer autistic person over person with autism. Person-first language has its origins in AIDS activism in the 1980s, when a group called the People with AIDS Self-Empowerment Movement attempted to distance themselves from certain language, such as the words victim or patient. This language has spread throughout other advocacy groups related to chronic health conditions, such as diabetes or asthma, and with certain disabilities. The thinking behind it is that people don't want to be referred to as the diabetic patient, they want to be seen as a person, first and foremost by medical professionals. I don't really have a problem with that when it comes to conditions like those, but I also think that it should be the communities themselves who decide. Autism is unique in a way because, as a developmental condition, there is a whole other category of people put between the patients and the healthcare professionals, and that is the parents. Without wanting to generalize too much, autism parents tend to be the strongest advocates for person-first language. They don't have an autistic child, they have a child with autism. They love their child but hate autism. They want to fight or beat autism. Don't believe me? Try typing in autism to any t-shirt printing site minus you will be amazed, horrified, at what comes up. So, in advocating for their children, they all too often advocate against autism and the autistic experience. From their perspective, autism is something that is like a disease, entirely separate from their child's identity, and nothing to be celebrated, but something to be considered a burden on their child and on themselves. As an autistic adult, who is only just starting to realize how ingrained autism is to my mind and core sense of self, this really borders on kind of offensive. To take the autism out of me would be to remove everything that makes me, and replacing that with a neurotypical way of thinking would make me somebody else entirely. Don't let the autism define you is a phrase that can only possibly be uttered by somebody who doesn't have to live in my head every single waking moment of the day. Of course, it doesn't just define me, but it is a very good descriptor of the way my brain works. My ability to focus on very, very small details, for example, can be a burden sometimes, but I can no less turn it off than you can stop yourself seeing without physically closing your eyes. Autism doesn't define me, it is me, but I should point out, not all autistic people feel so strongly about this, and some may disagree entirely, and that's totally within their rights. This is just my humble opinion on the matter. That's also not to say that I have never used person with autism or people with autism, if it made sense, linguistically, or just sounded better in conversation. I am also not going to get annoyed if someone uses it in casual conversation. This isn't about grammar policing. It's more about the people who correct other people and insist on people using person-first language in every case. To me, it just sounds so awkward like this, like you are falling over yourself to be politically correct. And to be honest, it kind of makes us stick out and others us. Talking around the word you really want to use in such an obvious way makes it sound like it's an insult, a slur, or otherwise something to be ashamed of or to avoid mentioning as much as possible. It is not more polite to avoid calling me what I actually am. But the real threat, in my opinion, comes from the organizations who use it as an attempt to pathologize us and our neurology.
Like Autism Speaks. They're one of the organizations, but yeah.
Because person-first language in the case of autism separates the autism from the person, by definition, thus opening the door to treatments, cures, or worse, what's next, gene editing to eliminate the autism. That's not just a bad dream, you know, it's already started. Language is important. The English language is a haven of subtlety and nuance, which can be quite opaque to those whose first language is not English or, in fact, to autistic people. I can imagine people for whom English isn't their first language thinking, what's the big deal? It sounds the same to me. But take it from a native English speaker, there is a difference on this. It's a subtle one, but it is there, and the impact is heavy. Now, I don't in any way intend to shame or belittle anyone who's used this kind of language in the past with good intentions. This was more of an attempt to raise consciousness by gently letting you know, hey, we don't all really like person-first language.
Exactly. And the people who use it to try to get rid of us, they are the pure evil and disgusted. I'll be honest. It's a bad thing and it needs to quit, like, literally.
On a spectrum of possibilities. I have ran this page since February 2018, and when I was active, it was gaining about 100 likes a day. However, over the past 6 to 10 months I have been a lot less into it due to developing a different view on what its priorities should be, as well as going off the puzzle piece and the name, but being unable to find a new meaning, as well as a replacement name and decision. Today I finally made a decision. As part of my role at the LA I started on Monday, I am on the steering group of the Northwest SEND Participation Network, making sure the views of neurodivergent and disabled children, young people and adults are heard and the right actions are taken based on them. This has inspired me and I am going to be completely redesigning the page and using it as a platform to 1. Share the best resources, work and practice that has been developed by disabled and neurodivergent people, which can be used by professionals to make a positive difference. 2. Share the best resources, work and practice from professionals that has been adequately co-produced. 3. Enable people to submit resources, work and practice to be reviewed by a scrutiny committee to possibly get it to a high standard, then post it both on the page and on a website, which will be built. This is still in very early stages, but I am really excited to see what happens next, and really hope it has a big impact. Just wanted to share an update with you all. Smiling face with smiling eyes. Any feedback/suggestions on this would be very welcome.
That's great right there that they're realizing how offensive the puzzle piece is and changing it with that group. That right there is amazing. Like they're realizing that. It takes real.
Unapologetically non-compliant. A neurotypical mother's perspective after leaving ABBA. One mother could only ignore her instincts, and the red. Unapologetically non-compliant. A neurotypical mother's perspective after leaving ABBA. One mother could only ignore her instincts, and the red flags for so long. Feast for urgent # actually autistic # today I NABA # ABBA # autism.
Now this article, one where a neurotypical parent finally realized how harmful ABA therapy is. And did it come from a neurotypical parent who realized it? So, I'm just going to say this. Prop to the parents who realized how harmful it was. Prop for them. Like, literally, the parent, it took them realizing it by just how wrong it is.
Unapologetically non-compliant. A neurotypical mother's perspective after leaving ABBA. 6 Min Read. By Holly Rowe Edgley 18, 2019. 6 Comments in Unapologetically non-compliant. A neurotypical mother's perspective after leaving ABBA. 6 Min Read. When her son was diagnosed with autism, this mother was pressed to put him in ABBA therapy. She wanted to defer to the experts, but things weren't adding up. Editor's note: Holly Rowe is a neurotypical parent of an autistic child and a guest contributor for the Aspergergent, contributing her experience at the request of our editorial team. My son was diagnosed as autistic in 2016, at 2 years old. As a first-time mother, I felt very overwhelmed when he was diagnosed. I didn't know anything about autism. He was also diagnosed with a form of cerebral palsy around the same time. Due to his delays, was already receiving both speech and physical therapy. The psychologist that diagnosed him also recommended that we start occupational therapy. In addition to that, we were told to start ABBA therapy to increase functional communication, play skills, and reduce repetitive behaviors. I'd never heard of it, but I was eager to do whatever needed to help my child as much as possible. I was told that it was the only effective, evidence-based therapy for...
In fact, it's really not. People who said that to her are absolute fucking liars. They lied. So just like that, you can't expect. Rather, literally, in a way. But they lied to her. They fucking lied to her. And it did get me mad that there are people out there who would do this type of shit to it needs to stop. It needs to stop. How can you expect stuff like that to keep on happening? Or stuff like that to stop happening? You have to fight to stop it from happening. You have to stand up and tell them, we're not dealing with it anymore.
I was told that it was the only effective, evidence-based therapy for autism. I was a member of many online support groups for parents of autistic children, where praise for ABBA was abundant. Within days of diagnosis, I was contacted by his care coordinator regarding ABA. She provided me with a list of local providers to consider. I found a company with a website that looked promising, with photos of smiling children and therapists in a classroom-type setting. I loved the idea of him receiving therapy in a clinical setting where he could interact with other children, as so many other providers only offered services in the home. Our intake meeting.
Here, dirty secret. Some of those kids really do not interact at all. And when they do, they are forced to in a way that is set to like a prison type thing, like saying you guys to talk to him. Or not like a prison type, it kind of messed up in a way. It's very hard to explain. But some of this shit is pretty fucked up. Sound like we got a train coming. Yeah, that train I can hear.
Our intake meeting was scheduled quickly. During the assessment, my child played with a couple of therapists while I answered questions and discussed our concerns. Our goals were increasing communication, social, and adaptive skills. Once the report was submitted to our insurance, we were approved for 25 hours a week of ABA therapy. In addition, we were approved for 16 hours of parent training per month. Due to the other therapies he needed to address physical challenges, we weren't able to commit to 25 hours. We began with an hour of ABA each day, increasing to 2 or 3 hours per day, depending on other appointments. The parent training, however, never happened. In the beginning, I observed the sessions. I would sit in the same room, off to the side, or watch from the hallway through a window. I was the only parent that would stay and watch. A few weeks later, when he seemed more comfortable, I would leave during his sessions. His initial goals were things such as stacking blocks or matching colors. New goals were added often, as he was mastering them left and right. I thought we had found a way to help him thrive. Over time, it became clear that he wasn't retaining many of the skills addressed in therapy. He was simply doing what was asked so that he could take a break and play with a preferred toy. I was assured that this was common, and they would add the previously mastered skills back into his therapy as maintenance. Before we stopped ABA, physical self-stimulatory behaviors, stims, were blocked by his therapist. Although his stims were harmless, we were assured that they interfered with his ability to attend to tasks during therapy. Hands.
They did not interfere with his task. It's a fucking lie that they put out there to screw around with and because they have a problem with and a lot of other stuff. There are many stuff about it, and I don't want to go into that part. It'll probably take way too long.
Hands down and quiet hands were introduced. It was at this point that he started developing self-harming stims, even pulling out his own hair. We found out we were being moved out of state for my husband's job. Having to start over again with therapies gave me time to reflect on our experience with ABA. Of course, it was recommended that I get him back into an ABA program as soon as possible after our move. We received authorizations from insurance for speech, physical therapy, OT, occupational therapy, and ABA. We started all except for ABA. I have zero regrets about that decision. My only regret is that we ever did it to begin with. In reflection, thinking back on the time he was in ABA, there were red flags that I missed. His therapist asked to come to one of his speech sessions for the purpose of collaboration, and I agreed. She sat in one of his sessions, taking notes. The next day when we arrived at ABA in front of a brand new RBT we were just introduced to, his BC-BA expressed her disapproval of the way his speech therapist worked with him. She thought that the session didn't have enough structure or productivity.
That one thing that people think autistic should be done to autistic is structure. In my point, that's more harmful than good. Whether we did think about it. Wouldn't have ever that have helped the autistic. Never. It really can screw around with us, and it's more harmful than anything. And they just don't get it through their fixed skulls. That structured can really be harmful. And it's messed up on what they do to them.
She asked me if I was happy with the SLP, and I made it clear that I was and had no intention of going elsewhere. The issue was dropped, but I didn't appreciate being cornered in that way. It felt manipulative and unnecessary. When my child turned 3, he was eligible for a developmental preschool program through early intervention. I brought this up to his BC bot, and she didn't seem willing to even entertain the idea. She expressed concern that since he was starting to imitate his peers, he would likely pick up behaviors from the other children that could be problematic. I declined the preschool program at their recommendation. Part of me felt that they knew better than I did. Prior to our move, my son received his ACT device. I was advised by his speech therapist to also have Abba use it, since he was receiving hours of therapy with them each day. They didn't want to implement it since he was using PECs with them already. Ultimately, they didn't want to learn the system and help us get started with it since he wouldn't be their client much longer. So much for helping us with communication skills. Shortly after we moved, I was still in a local support group. One parent asked about recommendations for an ABA provider. Another parent that I recognized from drop-off had advised against the company we both used. I sent her a message asking why she wouldn't recommend them, curious as to what happened. She told me that at the recommendation of her child's developmental pediatrician, she was dropping her child's ABA hours from 25 to 10. She was advised to put her child in both speech and occupational therapy, and she couldn't find the time with the high amount of ABA hours. The ABA provider advised against it, and she followed through with the doctor's recommendation and reduced hours. Then, the provider dropped her child as a client and reported her to Child Protective Services under the accusation of not receiving proper services. That was the final straw. I would no longer doubt my reservations or second-guess my instincts about the harms of ABA. I thought that they cared about our family and wanted to help us, but it was clear that profit is what matters the most.
All they are discriminating groups. Discriminating organizations run by one big corporation, Autism Speaks. They are all connected to Autism Speak for some people who don't know. If you think about it, they're all run by Autism Speaks with the reason why. And most people don't realize that. It's very bad. And it did disgusting.
Around the time we were leaving, all of the children that went to the clinic with my son were being bumped up to 25 hours per week. I had heard therapists talking to parents about it in the waiting room. I'm sure that they would have asked us to do the same if we weren't leaving, and I would have refused. Would I have been reported to cease, too? At the time, I believe they were trying to help us. I would have gotten defensive and defended this modern/good ABA, as I see so many do. Hindsight is 20/20. My son has been out of ABA for a year now, and he's a much happier child. He doesn't even have a behavioral plan in place at school. It's not needed. He didn't have some major regression like I was told he would. He's a loving, stimming, thriving little boy. Last but not least, I want to say thank you to the online communities of autistic adults for welcoming parents like me with open arms. You educate and support NT parents in a way that nobody else can, and I'm forever grateful.
Now, if you guys don't know, my mom pushed me through it, like, literally. And it's lucky that I made it through. My mom really don't realize how much harm she had put me through with those therapies and stuff. She don't realize how much harm it was to me. And I thought they would get at one point, and now that I realize the dirty truth and how lucky I was to make it through, it's a miracle that I had not had any PTSD or that from it.
Warning. Warning sign. This person panders to the #autistic dark web and is actually a close friend of notorious figure Yuval Leventhal, sharing regularly his work. Be wary of this folk.
Okay, now, I'm going to be careful of that because the people who do that make people like that look bad. They are fucking sick, and I mean it. So people who go after people like that did to make it where autism is despair and it's bad, There are people who are dark web. They go after us, making us look like we're dark web and everything. Find up to ABA therapy, but it's actually dog abuse for or training or hold on. I'm trying to remember what abusive dog training for people. There we go. Find up to it, and they try to call it the dark web or like the autistic dark web for trying to fight against the abusive stuff, and it fucked up. Like they're fucking dirty true. Like these people who try to go after us, they are fucking sick. And it messed up. One day they're going to be somebody in government who on the autism spectrum and going to say, nope, you guys are being hate group trying to for people on the autism spectrum. I'm going to put you at terrorists or like like Ku Klux Klan type of thing. But yeah, and it's just fucked up. Because autism is a gift, and some people on the spectrum, like people on the spectrum, we have a ton of different talents. Like literally. And it's amazing, but there are people out there who just don't like it and try to turn it against one other to use that as a way to try to take it down. Like people who make the autism dark web or the autistic dark web. They are technically neurotypical who try to make it hard for us. And if you guys remember from one of my previous live streams where I called the person out for that, you probably remembered it. And the other live stream where I brought up the other thing that we're calling them out for what they are. So, yeah. It fucked up, but, it's something that we all need to change. Let me view the article. Oh, yeah. We're something else. Before I do, I need to check something real quick. Let's see. Oop. 1 minute, guys. But it did fucked up. If you guys know what I mean. But yeah, it's a fucked up thing that didn't need to quit. But yeah, now here's something else that is interesting that I'm talk about. One minute. Freaking ad. One thing I hate ads. I'll be on about that. I'm not going to lie about it, but ads are a nuisance, and for what I think of them. When you're doing something that don't need interrupting or anything, those things will simply come right up and screw your head over heels. Like, literally. And I'll be honest, it's so aggravating and annoying. Like, you're doing something, next thing you know, you have an ad pop up that screw your head over heels. But yeah. Now here, the next article.
CSUF Commencement 2019. Student with autism finds her path in speech pathology. Jessica Zavala, the first college grad in her family, ignores limits. California State University, Fullerton student, Jessica Zavala, in front of Stephen G. Meatloaf Hall. Zavala, who has autism, was nonverbal until she was 5 years old but is soon graduating from college. She is studying to become a speech and language pathologist for elementary school children. She is on campus on Friday, May 9, 2019. Photos by Karen Tapia, contributing photographer. By Susan Gill Vardon, SG Vardon at SCNG. Orange County Register. Published May 15, 2019 at 2:13 p.m. Updated May 17, 2019 at 10:13 a.m. Early in her life, Jessica Zavala set out to prove the naysayers wrong. They said she shouldn't be in regular classes in elementary school, that she wouldn't graduate high school or make it to college. On Saturday, she will graduate with a bachelor's in communicative disorders. The 22-year-old wants to become a speech and language pathologist to work with children who, like her, have autism.
You're saying she proved them wrong. There are big discriminating towards the autism community that find worthless and all that. Like, what are we like? Here at soccer, when I was younger, when I was first diagnosed with autism at 17 months old, when I was an infant, they told my parents that I will never graduate from high school. They told me, well, there was some bullshit that was caused by it. I ended up being in special need classes all the way up until my second to last year of middle school. It was not until after the re-diagnosed that they changed it from special need to resource. Which kind of did fuck me over in a way. But I did graduate from middle school, and I technically do count myself graduated from high school, but it would technically a certificate of completion would mean I made it through school, but I still graduated in a way. But I still got screwed over by it. But I did prove them wrong. Like, I literally did. Like, they said that I would never graduate from high school. Now, I did try to go to college, but I got fucked head over heel by the system. And with them being discriminated against me. So, I'm still going to try to prove them wrong down the line with that one. Because they did said it, and I'm still going to prove them wrong eventually. They said I will never be able to work. Actually, I did. I did have a job for a month, but they had to let me go because of bullshit from them. And said they had not had enough work hours for me. And said they had to let me go for that because of that. And I can't trust anybody here in South Carolina that if you're autistic, it's very biased here. And in South, getting a job when you're on the autism spectrum, it's almost impossible without discrimination. So, yeah. So that's something that we have to deal with. And I'm thinking about trying to help our people on the spectrum. And another thing is, they said that I would never be able to get married. And I'm proving them wrong because later on this year, I'm getting married to my lovely fiance, Velbaria, who are also on the autism spectrum. So I technically proved them wrong there. Now, I am still living with my mom, but I'll be moving out in a couple months. And that's another thing that I'm not going to be proving them wrong with, saying that I would have to be cared for by my family or caregiver for my life. So I'm technically kind of proving them wrong there too. So, yeah.
I can tell the parents I was in that seat before, said Zavala. I know the process. It's hard, but it's going to get better. Previous sound. The gallery will resume in seconds. Next. One of three. California State University, Fullerton student, Jessica Zavala, in front of Stephen G. Meatloaf Hall. Zavala, who has autism, was nonverbal until she was 5 years old but is soon graduating from college. She is studying to become a speech and language pathologist for elementary school children. She is on campus on Friday, May 9, 2019. Photos by Karen Tapia, contributing photographer. Zavala, who grew up in the Boyle Heights area of East Los Angeles, was diagnosed with mild autism when she was 2½ She didn't speak until she was 5. In elementary school she learned what it was like for children with a label attached to their name. After passing tests and getting approval from school psychologists, Zavala was able to take regular classes. But her kindergarten teacher had seen her file, she said, and separated her from the other children. She was forced to sit at a desk in the back of the room facing the wall. She would vocalize in front of me, "I don't want the kids in class to copy you," Zavala said. "This was an adult. You think they are supposed to care for you. I thought no teacher is going to want me," she said. "I didn't want to go to school. I felt I was too dumb." She was fortunate with her first grade teacher, who encouraged her to read and write and find her passion. "He made her believe in herself as a person, not a label," she said.
Now, here's Jane. That right there was discrimination and ableism. Now I remember. I'm still getting YouTube because it took me a while to see some of the truths about stuff that our community goes through. Like, I see now through how the bullshit is now. Like, I really see the truth. But yeah.
Her parents, Lucy and Jesse Zavala, and sister Melissa, were always supportive, she said. They would step in when neighborhood children called her names. When she was 8 and old enough to understand what autism was, they explained it to her. "My dad said it's a disability, but it doesn't change anything. You are who you are," Zavala said. "My parents wanted me to succeed, to be like everybody else." Her parents took classes and attended workshops to learn how to help her. They got her into speech therapy, fighting the school district to make sure she got one-on-one time. They also taught her social skills to help her blend in, such as maintaining eye contact when speaking with others and the give and take of a conversation. They held her close when she felt anxious and started rocking back and forth and clenching her fists. Read about other CSUF 2019 graduates. Miramini, Nick and Seth Dietz. Melissa Manzo. Zavala's goal in high school was to be the best, to get A's and show everyone what she could accomplish. She graduated with honors and was thrilled when she was accepted at Cal State Fullerton, the first in her immediate family to attend college. "It proved to everyone who doubted me that I could do it," she said. Initially, Zavala was interested in working with children in special education, but her father was concerned about the stability of the job in a time of budget cuts and asked her to consider speech pathology. That made her think about her own speech therapy and why it took her a while to start talking. Maybe she just didn't want to or was afraid, she thought. Or maybe she didn't see the point when people weren't going to acknowledge her, or in the worst case, make her face a wall. "All my life, I would stay quiet," Zavala said. "People would say things about me and I wouldn't comment. With speech therapy, now I can find a way to speak up for myself." Aside from her classes, participating in the National Student Speech Language Hearing Association, and working at a Starbucks on campus, Zavala did applied behavioral therapy, where...
1 minute, guys. Be right back.
Student speech language.
Okay, I'm back, guys. Sorry about that. My little siblings got home.
Aside from her classes, participating in the National Student Speech Language Hearing Association, and working at a Starbucks on campus, Zavala did applied behavioral therapy, where she went to homes to work with children with autism, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, or other disabilities. The first child she worked with had autism. To her relief, she was able to connect with the child and the worried mother. "Watching him was almost like watching myself," she said. "I reassured the mom, 'I am autistic and I am here with your child.' I know why he is doing what he is doing. Zavala's time away from her family at CSUF has helped her learn to take care of herself, to build relationships and open up to people. She has had friends express surprise when they learn she has autism. They say, "I never would have guessed," she said. I say, "That's good." Commencement on Saturday is a long-awaited event for her family. The day is everything to them, Zavala said. They would hear year after year, "She'll never make it." I know it's been hard on them. I had to prove to everybody that I'm ready to take on the world.
Now, she don't realize how harmful like behavior analysis is. Like this of I kind of now notice that they are trying to figure out keep their job around. They are trying to turn some of us against their own self and using us against us. So they're technically doing it to us and making us think it's good. With it did piss me off, but she technically, I'm just surprised that she don't realize how damaging ADA therapy is. If I find her Facebook, I can actually explain to her how harmful it is, and show her what's up about it, and show her how bad this could. It not because of how we act, it's how they treat us. If she sees, you might be shocked, but I have to agree with her that she made and proved them wrong. So yeah, and she also on autism spectrum. So yeah. Like my fiance fell. She also on autism spectrum. So yeah. Everybody is different in a way. But she don't have a clue, and I bet she would probably be shocked and upset that realizing how discriminating they are against her. It probably would shock her. But truth need to get to her. Like, you probably don't have a clue. I just heard another train horn. But, yeah. But, I'll probably find her later on. Now. But, yeah. It's crazy. But it's a crazy thing, in a way, if you think about it. Now, I hear something from my fiance, and with their train coming. But, yeah. Like, if she knew the discrimination and all that our community go through, or technically because she is part of our community and she also on the autism spectrum, it would probably shock the hell out of her, and it probably will make her realize that the flapping, I still do it, and the rocking is part of helping us. But yeah, it's surprising.
Useless, worthless, a threat. Those words I've heard in my mind. Yes, those words came to my mind. It was after watching Aladdin last May 28th. One of the songs, Speechless, came into mind because it was my theme song of my life when I pursue a career in diplomacy. Not only that, this song is based on my life as a person living with autism. It was in my childhood age where I cannot speak a single sentence, only a yes or no, since I only spoke English as a result of being educated in both special school and mainstream school, wherein I experienced silent bullying because of being different to the rest of the students. Also in grade school I was deceived and was even the blame even if I didn't do anything wrong at all.
That part of my fiance post, when I was younger, I went to exact same stuff. Like, when I was diagnosed with autism, and when I went to school, I was really treated like crap. Like, first day of elementary school ever. And did for a special needs student, did a crappy playground, like that was messy all the time. Threw a beer bottle on it. I picked the beer bottle up, wanting to throw it away, and right as I picked it up, it exploded in my hand. So, first day of school was a horrible misery for me. It got worse when I went to Fireton because other students used to blame stuff on me because I was not nonverbal until I was nearly 9 and 10 years old. Like, I did not start speaking until then. Like, I did not start speaking until 9 or 10, in a way. But when it all happened, but the day was pretty fucked up. Like, kids used to set stuff up on me, get me in trouble for stuff that they did, or you to try and get me to have a meltdown or stuff. And I always got in trouble because of them. And what they did was because the teacher that I had at the time, she got very ill, if I can remember. It's been a long time now. It was way before I was 10 years old, so it was over a decade ago. Where, literally, another train going by. Where, in a way, that if I got in trouble, it was you were to substitute in a way. You came in, and every time I got in trouble, you used to walk me in the bathroom in the dark, and they was the dirty bathroom like they had in the classroom, and they did an old school, and here it seemed the old school had rats, spiders, cockroaches, and bugs in it. Ugh. If they had safety crews come out there, that school would have been condemned and probably torn down. Kicker it's still operating. Like, they had rats inside, like, and there was sometimes that water used to go through the roof. So, yeah. And it was elementary school. Now, one at a time when I was 9 years old, because I started speaking a little bit, and I was still in this school, some of the kids tried to get me in trouble, and they was fucking freaking out when they realized that I started talking, and they pulled the security camera, and they seen I was telling the truth. And but it was too late, because after that, I got transferred to another school after that year ended with a good scene, and yeah.
Until in my third year, high school, wherein mismanagement and mistreatment came to existence. Since I was a minor that time, I have to follow what they wanted me to do. Where I didn't have the right to say my true feelings when I felt discomfort, especially, I expressed my sadness also to other talents with autism wherein they are not treated fairly. However, I became in good hands with, I experienced shame and mental harassment. With that, it made me want to give up, or cease, my singing career and pursue other things, especially that's not in my line. Since I got into trouble of not having a chance to perform for autism-related events, I decided to back off and focus more on my schooling where I graduated in high school with special awards. Got promoted to college, I experienced being rejected and being misunderstood for being autistic. I was even called a threat and got offended. However, I took it as a challenge and proved to them that I'm not. In combating fear of bullying, I started competing for singing competitions in 2014 with much grittiness to win, and did won several top prizes without expecting it, beating not only who hated me, but those who are too judgmental for my being. As part of my advocacy in autism, I decided to perform for many PWD-related events, either fundraising or a corporate event. Whilst being involved with that, I also experienced being deceived, because I was less exposed in terms of performing in an event comparing to other talents with the same spectrum. Now on its theme, much to my surprise, winning my first 2 international awards was such a joy and a stepping stone towards my long term in pursuing a career in diplomacy. Winning them twice was much worth it while in my gap year for 2 school years. Going back to study, they asked for it even if they didn't recognize me for that. However, those achievements proved them wrong as they changed their mindset about how they looked at me. I didn't expect that either. With that, I helped those in need and contribute to them, even without asking anything in return, especially those people I've helped misunderstood me. Working as a self-advocate for autism awareness, I expressed that pursuing diplomacy helped me expand my mind towards realistic stories and experiences. I just don't want to be known only as a singer because it was not enough. but being in a profession that matters you and others becomes more inspirational. Also, diplomacy helped me to meet new people by acquiring social skills, and I came to realization that I have to get out of the comfort zone with this. I will be the happiest girl with that. This
It's always good to get out of your comfort zone, even on the autism spectrum. Like I get out of my comfort zone a lot. But yeah. Now, with ABA therapy, when people go through it, they don't want to change or go do new stuff or go out of their comfort zone after they go through ABA therapy because of PTSD. I'm lucky that I made it through. But yeah.
These stories of experiencing the dark times helped me become the leader that I am and the person that I am. The real person that I am right now. Hopefully, this message of this song will also help me to reveal my real identity, especially with this song. Again, I was born to speak out. I was born not to be speechless, but born to conquer my fears amidst the challenges that comes my way. This is Velbaria. I am a proud advocate for autism, mental health, and a performing artist living with autism and a future leader for tomorrow's future. Autism talent. Message of an advocate with autism. Autism awareness. Autism life. Talented autistic. I do not own the music. I do not own anything. No copyright infringement intended. For entertainment purposes only. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Exactly what I'm doing right here. Now, this is from my fiance singing. Like, she was singing the video now that I'm going to show you, and it do fall under the fair use thing. So, those people who want to try to, you need to forget about it, because one, fair use law. But people who are doing something with Article 13, I hope you got burned in hell. Greedy bastards. Well, let me check. But yeah. Now, if you guys remember, my fiance, she's a beautiful singer. She can sing beautifully. But yeah. And also, I have planned some other stuff too, but my fiance Velgaria.
Here comes a wave meant to wash me away, a tide that is taking me under, swallowing sand left with nothing to see, my voice drowned out in a thunder, but I won't cry, and I won't start to crumble, whenever they try to shut me or cut me down. I won't be silenced. You can't keep me quiet.
that was my fiance Vel, my lovely fiance Vel Baria singing. Oh, but yeah. And literally, like, some people don't realize the discrimination that people on an autism community go through, even in school, by students and teacher, even by faculty. Like, it's something that we have a hard time with. But it's something that we need to start speaking out about and stop it from happening. But yeah. But it's Jane about my fiance. She is very motivating. She was one who got me into it, and one that helped me start realizing that we need to get out there and speak our voice even more. Let me check, see what Jip wanted about. But yeah. But it's something that we do to help our people and help make a better future for the autism community. But yeah. Now, if you guys don't know, I am between the 22nd and 23rd with, if you guys know, in my fiance home country, the Philippines, they're 12 hours ahead in time, meaning it already the 21st there, but on 22nd of the afternoon my time, with it the 23rd in the morning her time, or 23rd on my day, I might be doing a live stream or a 1-year anniversary video, or try to record me and her doing a video chat. I probably said it earlier in the live stream, but for people who are out there who probably missed that part, or I actually did, but I'll say it again. For people who missed that part, I'll say it. I might be doing a live stream during the night on the 22nd or morning of the 23rd, or do a video on the 23rd, because that is the day, the 23rd, and me and my fiance 1-year anniversary of being engaged. So yeah. And saying about it is that because she is 12 hours ahead in time, and it will be already the 23rd in her country, when they come afternoon on 22nd, I might try to do a live stream that night, or during the middle of the night, or into early morning, or wait until early morning to do it. But yeah, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do for it. We'll find out. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed your Saturday, and I hope your weekend is going great so far. And I hope you guys found my video motivating, find stuff that I'm talking about interesting and amazing. But yeah, and I hope you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel too. And I hope you guys keep on moving on and being motivated. Now, I am getting ready to get up, and I am about to sign out, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye, guys!